Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have a self-study mini course, Telepathically Connect with Your Specific Person. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to address a topic that comes up quite often, and that is manifesting an apology from your specific person. A lot of people may have had a bad breakup, or they might be on bad terms with their specific person right now, or they might feel resentful towards their specific person. So we're going to discuss getting an apology from your specific person in today's video. Stay tuned. So before I begin with the main part of the video, I want to make a disclaimer. And that is, what I'm about to say does not apply to toxic situations, abusive situations. If you've been abused by your specific person, if you were in a dangerous situation, if you were in an abusive relationship, this doesn't apply. If you were in any kind of abusive situation, my advice is always to walk away. So with that being said, let's get to the main part of the video. A lot of people who are manifesting a specific person, especially if it's an ex, especially if it's someone who might have ghosted you, if it's someone who you were dating and you're not dating anymore, whatever the situation might be, a lot of people intend for an apology from their specific person. And I wanted to go a little deeper into that and explore with you guys what exactly it is that you are intending in this situation. And at the end of the day, how relevant an apology is when it comes to conscious manifesting, but also how you can go about getting that apology. So one thing that I want you guys to consider, first of all, we are conscious manifestors. What does that mean? That means we take accountability for what happens in our lives. That doesn't mean we take the blame. That doesn't mean that we beat ourselves up. However, it means that we recognize that what manifests in our 3D, what manifests in our experiences day to day, that includes our relationships, that includes relationships that have gone sour, we need to be able to recognize our role in it. And when I say that, what I mean exactly is in line with another video that I made very recently, essentially reverse engineering that experience that manifested in your 3D and tracing it back to your dominant state at the time when that manifested, or right before it manifested, or recently before it manifested. In other words, let's say that you were dating someone and they ghosted you. I understand this is a horrible experience, it's a very painful experience, and I get the pain, I get the hurt, I get all that. What I also want you to consider is what your own state was at that time. If you are honest with yourself, and if you go back and reverse engineer the events and you reverse engineer the situation and why it played out the way it played out, you are likely going to find out that you were either in fear, you were either in a lot of insecurity, you were perhaps doubting your person's intentions towards you, you were doubting their loyalty perhaps, you were doubting their commitment to the relationship, maybe you were doubting their attraction towards you, maybe you were even arguing in the 3D with them about all this. So you were probably in a state of victimhood, in a state of fear, in a state of doubt, in a state of insecurity. In other words, a state that was not aligned with what you actually wanted, which was to have a loving, committed relationship with your specific person. Once again, I'm not saying that to blame you for anything. I am saying that, however, to help you understand that your state does play out in the 3D, does shape your experiences in your 3D. So if you had an unwanted and undesirable experience in the 3D, chances are your state was not actually aligned with what you actually wanted and was instead aligned with what you didn't want. It was instead aligned with that fear, that doubt, that insecurity, that distrust towards your person to actually deliver to you what you want. And so how it played out, as unfortunate as it is, through that specific person who is just a messenger, is through ghosting or through breaking up or through doing something else that was bad, unpleasant, horrible, negative, you didn't like. And once again, I want to make it very clear, I'm not saying this to tell you not to have boundaries, not to have standards, not to expect the best behavior. I'm also not saying this to completely excuse the other person of a bad behavior. However, you need to remember, as a conscious manifestor, everyone else is your mirror. This means who you dominantly are being within, what your dominant inner state you are projecting outwards, is going to be reflected back to you by the outer world, by the 3D, and that includes your specific person. So knowing that, realizing that, understanding your responsibility and your accountability in the situation, once again, not in the sense of beating yourself up, but in the sense of realizing how your state might have been projected outwards and how other people might have played it out for you to reflect it back to you, because other people are just messengers. And I'm saying all this because I want you to consider if that apology that you're seeking from your specific person is actually an apology you need. Now, if after you've considered that, you are still gung-ho on wanting that apology, there is a way to get that apology. But the way to get that apology might not be what you might think it is. And once again, it goes back to the concept of other people are our mirrors. And it's not just a concept. All of you who have been doing conscious manifesting for a while and who have been observing your reality, have been observing your experiences, I'm sure you're able to confirm that. I'm sure you will have seen that in your day-to-day experiences already, that your dominant inner states just are played out by the 3D and by other people. So if you're still in a state of resentment, if you're still in a state of anger, if you're still in a state of annoyance at the other person, if you're still blaming the other person for what they did, whether that was breaking up with you, or ghosting you, or perhaps canceling plans on you, or whatever else it might have been, for which you feel like you need an apology, the fastest way to get that apology is to let that resentment go. If you're still holding on to that resentment, if you're still hurt and you're in pain over whatever you perceive that they did to you, what you're projecting towards them, which they're receiving subconsciously, is still a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, and a lot of pain and hurt, and a lot of judgment and criticism over how they have treated you. As the mirror that they are, what they are subconsciously compelled to continue to reflect back to you in that situation is more evidence, more reasons for you to feel resentful towards them. In other words, they might not be coming in with an apology because you are still holding that resentment towards them. If the dominant story you're still holding for them is resentment and it's you treated me this way, you treated me that way, you're a bad person, how were you able to do this to me, I am your victim and you treated me horribly, what they are subconsciously receiving from you is all of this, is that whole story, all these assumptions, all these thoughts, all these feelings, all that energy. So what they are subconsciously compelled to reflect back to you is how bad the person they are, how much they don't care about you, how much they don't care to give you an apology, how much they don't care if they hurt you, etc., etc. So if you truly want an apology from your specific person, it's actually on you, it's in your hands to put the past aside, to realize that all that your SP was doing in the past that hurt you was play out your dominant state and your dominant energy at the time, and start dropping that resentment. Start forgiving them first. What I'm trying to say is, don't wait for that apology to come in the 3D for you to forgive them. You start by forgiving them first. You start by dropping that resentment first. You start by dropping that anger and that hurt that belong to the old story. You are now deciding that you're building a new story with them and a new version of them and their relationship. And the resentment and the anger have no room in that new story and in that new version. So you forgive, you drop the resentment, you drop the anger, and that is the best and fastest way for the apology to actually come in. Because what you're doing once you're changing the story from a story of resentment to a story of forgiveness and let's start fresh, let's forget about the past, let's put it in the past, what you're now starting to project towards them is love, it's forgiveness, it's let's be together, it's I'm accepting you, I want you in my life. So then this is what they receive subconsciously from you, and this is what they are going to subconsciously be compelled to reflect towards you, which is going to make them very, very likely to actually come in with that apology that you want for you, to actually own up to their past mistakes, their past actions, anything they might have said or done that hurt you. And through forgiveness and dropping the resentment and going into your new story, into your new version of reality, you are going to get that apology, you are going to attract that new version of them. That new version who wants to apologize, that new version who wants the fresh start, that new version who wants to have you happy and keep you satisfied and keep you content. And who doesn't want to hurt you, who wants to be the best version of themselves for you, and who wants to apologize and who wants to repair and restart the relationship. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.